Today we are going to learn about f-strings in Python. String formatting means inserting variable values into text. Without a structured approach, combining text and variables produces messy, hard-to-read code. F-strings give you a clean and simple solution. Before f-strings, Python had two older ways to format strings. The percent operator used a percent sign as a placeholder inside the string. The format method used curly braces and a format method call at the end. Both approaches work, but they are harder to read as strings grow longer. F-strings were introduced in Python 3.6. The name stands for Formatted String Literals. They are now the recommended way to format strings in Python. Python processes them faster than both the percent operator and the format method. Writing an f-string starts with the letter F placed directly before the opening quote. That prefix tells Python this string contains expressions to evaluate. Without the F prefix, curly braces are treated as plain text and nothing is substituted. Inside an f-string, curly braces mark a placeholder. Python evaluates whatever is inside those braces and inserts the result into the string. The braces and their contents do not appear in the final output. Only the evaluated result is shown. F-strings work with both single and double quotes. You write F followed by a single quoted string or F followed by a double quoted string. The choice does not affect how the F-string behaves. Consistency with the rest of your code is all that matters. Sometimes you need a literal curly brace to appear in your output. To show one opening brace, write two opening braces. To show one closing brace, write two closing braces. Python collapses each pair into a single visible brace in the final string. Now it is time to see an f-string in action. This first code sequence builds a complete example step by step. The first line creates a variable called name and assigns it the string value Alice. The second line creates the f-string itself. The letter F comes before the opening quote. Inside the string, the variable name sits inside curly braces. Python will replace that placeholder with the actual value when the string is evaluated. The third line passes the message variable to the print function. Python evaluates the f-string at this point. It finds the placeholder, looks up the value of name, and inserts it into the string. The output shows the final result. F-strings work with numbers just as easily as they do with strings. You do not need to convert integers or floats before placing them inside braces. Python handles the conversion automatically. This makes f-strings much simpler than the older approaches. This example uses three variables at once. An integer, a float, and a string all appear in a single f-string. Each placeholder is replaced with its corresponding value. The output shows all three values formatted together cleanly. An f-string can do more than insert a variable. You can place any valid Python expression directly inside the curly braces. Python evaluates the expression first and then inserts the result. This means arithmetic, comparisons, and function calls all work inside braces. Let's understand expression example step by step. The first line assigns the integer value 10 to a variable called a. The second line assigns the integer value 3 to a variable called b. The third line builds the f-string. Inside the braces, the expression a plus b is written directly. Python calculates the result before inserting it. No separate variable is needed to store the answer first. The final line passes the result to the print function. Python evaluates the expression inside the braces, gets the value 13, and inserts it into the string. The output shows the calculated result in line. Methods can be called directly inside the curly braces of an f-string. You write the variable name followed by the method name, all inside the braces. Python calls the method and inserts the return value into the string. The original variable is not changed. The first line assigns a string with extra spaces on both sides to a variable called name. The value has leading and trailing whitespace that needs to be removed. The second line calls the strip method and the title method on name inside the f-string braces. Strip removes the leading and trailing spaces. Title capitalizes the first letter of each word. Both methods are chained together in one expression. The print function evaluates the chained method call inside the braces and inserts the cleaned and capitalized string into the output. No intermediate variable is needed to store the result. A format specifier controls how a value is displayed inside an f-string. You add a colon after the variable name inside the braces, followed by a format code. The colon separates the value from the display instruction. The value itself is not changed. The .2f specifier is one of the most commonly used format codes. It tells Python to display a float with exactly 2 decimal places. You write a dot followed by the number of decimal places, then the letter f. The number is rounded to fit. The first line assigns the value of pi to a variable. The second line builds the f-string with a format specifier. After the variable name, a colon and .2f tell Python how many decimal places to show. The print function outputs the formatted result. Python rounds the value to 2 decimal places before inserting it. The original variable still holds its full value. Only the display is affected by the specifier. Field width and alignment let you control how much space a value takes inside a string. The less than symbol left aligns a value in a given number of characters. The greater than symbol right aligns it. This is useful for displaying data in neat columns. This code sequence builds a column layout using field width and alignment. The first line assigns the string apple to a variable called item. The second line assigns the float value 1.5 to a variable called price. The third line builds the f-string with both alignment specifiers together. Item is left aligned in 10 characters. Price is right aligned in 6 characters with 2 decimal places. Both appear in the same string, creating a clean column layout. The print function outputs the formatted line. The item name fills 10 characters and sits at the left edge. The price fills 6 characters and sits at the right edge. This kind of layout is useful for receipts, tables, and reports. Zero padding fills a number with leading zeros to reach a fixed width. You write 0 followed by the total number of digits, then the letter D for integer. This is useful for order numbers, codes, and any situation where a consistent width matters. Multiline f-strings use triple quotes instead of a single pair. You write f followed by 3 quote marks to open and 3 to close. Everything between them is part of the string, including line breaks. This is useful when you need to build longer formatted text across multiple lines. Let's understand multiline f-string example step by step. The first line assigns the string bob to a variable called first. The second line assigns the integer 25 to a variable called age. The third line opens the multiline f-string using triple double quotes. Each line inside the string can contain its own placeholder. Python evaluates all of them when the string is created. The print function outputs the multiline result. Each placeholder is replaced with its variable value. The line breaks inside the triple-quoted string are preserved in the output. The result prints across multiple lines automatically. A backslash cannot be used inside the curly braces of an f-string. Python does not allow escape sequences inside placeholders. If you need a new line or tab character in your output, assign it to a variable first, and then place that variable inside the braces. A quote conflict happens when the quote character inside the braces matches the quote character wrapping the f-string. Python sees the inner quote as the end of the string and raises a syntax error. The solution is to switch the outer quote style. If the f-string uses double quotes on the outside, use single quotes inside the braces. If it uses single quotes on the outside, use double quotes inside. Python treats them as separate delimiters and no conflict occurs. F-strings are faster than both the percent operator and the format method. Python evaluates them at runtime without building an intermediate object. They are also easier to read because the variable sits right where it appears in the output. For new code, F-strings are always the right choice. F-strings let you embed any Python expression directly inside a string. You use the F prefix, curly braces for placeholders, and a colon for format specifiers. They work with every data type, support method calls and arithmetic, and produce clean, readable code that covers everything you need to use F-strings confidently. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope you found this lesson helpful and easy to understand. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more beginner-friendly programming tutorials and helpful tips. Feel free to comment your questions or thoughts below. I love hearing from you and I try to respond to every comment. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you get notified whenever I upload new videos. See you in the next lesson.